Unable to perform space shuffle now, he stood his ground, ready to face the divine Nest Sun God in a decisive battle. Canelo addressed Zhang Yi with resignation. If you fall, I will request headquarters to unleash the Reaper of Love. That ruthless? Zhang Yi chuckled. You don't understand. Canelo took a deep breath. There are two more beings like him. Zhang Yi hadn't seen the three pillar gods with his own eyes, but Canelo had known of their existence for a year. That was precisely why Columbia headquarters had to intervene. A single sun god possessed terrifying power. If all three ever joined forces, they could effortlessly annihilate the entire Columbus Ocean fleet. Yet upon hearing this, a sudden flash of insight struck Zhang Yi. So there are three of them? Yes. Do you feel the pressure now? Canelo remarked. No. Zhang Yi shook his head. It makes me feel incredibly relieved. A smile actually spread across his face, the exhilaration of spotting a glimmer of hope. Canelo froze for a moment before resuming his aim at the divine Nest Sun God. He inwardly scoffed, this guy must be out of his mind. Divine Nest Sun God temporarily ignored Canelo. Once he eliminated Zhang Yi, dealing with that long-range sniping mutant would be a breeze. However, Canelo's presence reduced the full force of his attacks by a third, buying Zhang Yi precious time. Wielding his scepter, wave after wave of assaults crashed like tidal surges, relentlessly eroding Zhang Yi's dimensional space. Zhang Yi and Flower fought together, pouring every ounce of strength into resisting this force. Yet the power of the divine Nest Sun God was overwhelming. Even the combined efforts of the three epsilons could only slow the pace at which he shattered their dimensional gates. Crash, another dozen dimensional gates shattered, leaving half of Zhang Yi's defenses destroyed. At this rate, they wouldn't last even half a minute. Yet Zhang Yi scanned his surroundings, his gaze searching for something. What exactly is it? The very existence they fear. From the attack of the divine Nest Sun God, Zhang Yi sensed that he was racing against time. Gone was the initial composure and calm. The attack of the divine Nest Sun God poured down relentlessly like a torrential downpour. Zhang Yi's dimensional gates shattered one after another, cracking layer by layer like thin, brittle glass. In less than 3 seconds, over 2,000 of the Gate of 3,000 realms had been destroyed. If this continued, Zhang Yi's space abilities would be utterly crippled. I won't let you destroy me completely. At the very least. I must keep a backup plan. Zhang Yi lifted his head to gaze at the sky, a strange smile suddenly curling his lips. I've held the title of Absolute Defense for a long time. There's no such thing as an absolutely unbreakable defense in this world. Others bestowing this title upon me was merely symbolic. But no one knows that I truly possess an absolutely unbreakable defensive method. Just as the divine Nest Sun God swung his scepter again, intending to shatter Zhang Yi's dimensional gate, he suddenly gathered all the dimensional gates around him. Then, a massive doorway materialized behind him. Zhang Yi took a step backward and stepped through the doorway. The enormous doorway snapped shut like a zipper, and Zhang Yi vanished completely from midair, leaving not even the slightest ripple. Zhang Yi's true power lay in opening independent alternate dimensions that did not exist within this grand space. He could unlock doors to these alternate realms. In the past, he had used this ability as a defensive measure and a means of teleportation. But in essence, it was simply a passageway. Now, Zhang Yi had entered the alternate dimension and sealed the passage behind him. From this moment onward, he would no longer exist within this world. No matter how formidable your power, you cannot erase a being that never existed in this world. If there was a flaw, it was that Zhang Yi's time within the space was limited. The disparity in time flow meant that a single minute inside felt like decades passing. Even lingering for just 1 minute would subject him to the sensation of his body becoming utterly immobile while his mind remained lucidly aware of the passage of immense time. To develop this ability, Zhang Yi subjected himself to an extremely brutal training regimen. Yet, up until now, his maximum endurance within the dimensional space had only reached 2.5 minutes. However, for the current situation, it was more than sufficient. The sudden loss of his target left the divine nest sun god momentarily stunned. Where did that bastard go? He scanned left and right, yet even Space Shuffle shouldn't have erased all traces. But now, Zhang Yi had vanished without a trace. Vanished completely from the vast expanse tens of thousands of meters above. This must be an illusion, right? You little brat, don't think you can fool me. Fortunately, the divine nest sun god's target wasn't him. Otherwise, he'd likely have met his end right here. Chaos, chaos. Canelo tried to contact Zhang Yi, but the system responded with signal interrupted. This left Canelo utterly dumbfounded. Wait, bro, I came to back you up. Where the hell are you? Fury twisted Canelo's nose nearly crooked. He had no idea Zhang Yi remained in the same place, though separated from the real world by a thin spatial barrier, existing in another dimension. The divine nest sun god truly lost his mind. His attack missed completely, and Zhang Yi vanished without a trace. It felt like he'd been toyed with by some weak 6th generation guy. Damn it. Zhang Yi vanished from his spot in an instant, throwing the divine nest sun god into a frenzy. He was now firing at full throttle, racing against time to slay Zhang Yi. Every second he lingered here made him a fraction more dangerous. And the 30 seconds he had declared had long since passed. Enraged, the divine nest sun god turned his gaze toward the distant horizon. Canelo, who should have been aiming his gun at him from that spot, had long since fled. Clenching his fists, the divine nest sun god began unleashing an indiscriminate attack upon his surroundings. Yet his frenzied energy could only vent into the void. Edo City was completely destroyed after this day. Abruptly, a brilliant white light flared in the sky above. The sky behind the divine nest sun god brightened. It was as if night had ended and dawn had broken. Now, it was daylight, not night. The darkness forcibly summoned by the divine nest sun god was dispelled by a mightier force. A silver blade plunged straight down from the heavens, piercing the body of the divine nest sun god. His eyes widened in shock and terror, his body instantly stiffening. Moments later, a deafening roar, powerful enough to shatter the eardrums of everyone below, thundered down from the heavens. The entire city of Edo could hear it clearly. It was as if a deity stood atop the 9 heavens, striking a war drum with a mallet. Rumble! The thunderous roar echoed ceaselessly. Boom! What had struck the divine nest sun god was a bolt of lightning, arriving in an instant. Deng Shintong and the others were utterly dumbfounded. They had been desperately fighting the 100 Demon Night Parade, but that bolt of lightning tore through the sky, illuminating the entire city of Edo. The ferocious demons vanished in an instant, vanishing like scattered ashes. The dark clouds in the sky rapidly dispersed, and light returned to Edo. Everything happened so swiftly it seemed as though the previous night of terror had been nothing but an illusion. The divine nest sun god was dead. That thunderbolt, vast beyond imagination, had pierced straight through his body, reducing him to charred remains. A fissure tore open in the void. An arm reached out from within, grasping firmly at the deity's fading origin. Zhang Yi secured the origin of the divine nest sun god, his heart still pounding as he gazed skyward. Not a cloud in sight. The thick, dark clouds had dispersed, revealing a deep azure sky unseen for ages. Thunder tribulation? The term surfaced in Zhang Yi's mind. In the immortal tales of Huashu Kingdom, the might of thunder was always held in utmost reverence. Classical novels spoke of enduring thunder tribulations. Yet today, he had witnessed this terrifying spectacle with his own eyes. The divine nest sun god, whose ability index approached 30,000 points, had been struck dead by a single bolt of thunder. Deep down, Zhang Yi had always known that the mysterious civilizations remained hidden from the moral world, constrained by some greater power. But he had never understood what that power truly was. Until this moment, when he witnessed the holy might of heaven. Zhang Yi rubbed his temples, feeling the world he inhabited growing increasingly unreal. Could it be that gods truly exist in this world? Or a creator who controls everything? Forget it. These things are beyond comprehension. I need to get out of here fast. Zhang Yi gazed down at Edo City below. The entire city now lay in near total ruin. With the deaths of the evil demon and the divine nest sun god, the controlled seed people slowly awoke from the rubble. Most had already been killed by the battle's aftermath. Those just awakening let out agonized screams. So cold, so cold. Help! Where am I? Why is everything in ruins? What? What happened to me? Why did I suddenly appear here? The screams echoed the chaos gripping Edo City. Zhang Yi had no time to spare for them. Without the nomadic insects parasites, they were merely ordinary people. Soon, most would succumb to the extreme cold. Yet they were about to relive the horrors of humanity's apocalyptic dawn. Zhang Yi landed on Mount Fudo. Deng Shintong and the others, fresh from a fierce battle, looked far from rested. It's time to leave. Zhang Yi turned to gaze at Mount Fudo. This active volcano, symbolizing the fortune of the Neon Nation, had collapsed halfway from its peak. The colossal fossil of an ancient creature was now fully exposed. That is. Liang Yu stared at the immense fossil, her voice breaking as she cried out. A dragon. Deng Shintong declared with unwavering certainty. Indeed, the colossal ancient creature fossil bore the unmistakable form of a mythical dragon. Its elongated body, clawed fingers, and horned crest perfectly matched humanity's vision of a divine dragon. However, it wasn't just the fossil of a single dragon. Alongside it lay several other bizarre creature fossils, seemingly entangled in a fierce, deadly struggle. One could clearly see dragon claws piercing through their bodies, and the teeth of the creatures locked onto the dragon's flesh, embedded deep into its bones as they met their end. This looks like a colossal battle between ancient creatures. Zhang Yi remarked. With a wave of his hand, space energy activated, lifting the entire ancient creature fossil into the air. Zhang Yi stored it within his dimensional space. He felt this artifact held significant research value if brought back. Turning his gaze back toward Edo and Mount Fudo, including the Heavenly Guardian Palace, he saw that little remained of Edo's once imposing architecture. Forget it. There's nothing left worth scavenging here. Zhang Yi saw no reason to linger. He'd just endured a fierce battle, and most of the dimensional gates had been destroyed. If Cardalus and Canelo arrived to fight him, Zhang Yi might find himself in trouble. Let's head back. He gathered everyone, opened the dimensional gate, and transported them toward Tianhai City. None of them noticed two shadowy figures materializing at the crater of Mount Fudo. Divine Nest Sun is dead. One shadow spoke coldly. The other shadow replied, I warned him. It wasn't time yet. Appearing in this world is dangerous. He underestimated the dangers outside. But the tribe invested immense resources in cultivating him. Now that he's dead, how can we be worthy of the tribe? It couldn't be helped. The greatest loss is that our plans in Zeepan have been ruined. The other shadow turned to him, What? Do we need to cultivate a new representative? The shadow replied, We'll see. This world is constantly shifting. Besides, cultivating someone of that caliber no longer holds meaning. After exchanging these words, the two shadows gradually faded into the void. From start to finish, Zhang Yi remained utterly unaware of their presence. Zhang Yi led everyone directly out of Neon. Before leaving, he briefly considered whether to say goodbye to Canelo. After all, during the battle earlier, he had extended a helping hand. However, after some thought, Zhang Yi abandoned the idea. At that time, their common enemy was the Divine Nest Sun God. Now that the Divine Nest Sun God Kamitsuki had been struck down by heavenly execution, and considering Zhang Yi had made the Void World departure, leaving the crisis solely for Canelo to handle, there was a possibility the other side might now concentrate the Colombian Naval Fleet's forces to intercept Zhang Yi. Theoretically, Zhang Yi needn't worry about being trapped by them. Yet 3 years into the apocalypse, the former world's top military power remained formidable. Zhang Yi refused to gamble on the strength of their reserves. Therefore, he would depart first. Once he reached a safe location, he could express his gratitude. he would certainly remember the favor, though repaying it would require waiting for the right opportunity. From Neon to Tianhai City, Zhang Yi continuously activated his space shuffle ability, taking considerable time to reach his destination. Along the way, he passed by Star Island's Mist Valley, casting a distant glance at it. That area was now completely surrounded by a vast fleet of naval warships. They belonged to Colombia, the East Sea region, and other surrounding nations. Deng Shintong had caused quite a commotion there to draw away the Colombian Navy. For some reason, Zhang Yi couldn't shake a sense of unease. If they truly provoked the civilizations of the underworld, summoning entities like the Hades gatekeepers into the mortal realm, they'd be in serious trouble. Take this divine nest sun god, for instance. His power was roughly around 30,000 points. Had its ability not been a summoning type within the trait system, Zhang Yi would have faced an even tougher battle. Such individuals' abilities primarily shine within large-scale wars, not in individual combat. He could manifest in the mortal realm. Therefore, it was only a matter of time before the Hades gatekeeper would also appear upon this land. When that time comes, Zhang Yi might face immense trouble. I must keep growing stronger, stronger, and stronger. I must become so powerful that no one can threaten me or the lives of those around me. Zhang Yi swept across the distant skies of Star Island, not lingering for even a moment. But in the instant he passed over this region, beneath the earth, within the bottomless, endless abyss, a pair of deep purple eyes suddenly opened. A familiar aura, a voice echoed with a mysterious civilization language. Zhang Yi made his way back to Tianhai City. Only upon seeing this familiar city, swallowed by heavy snow, did he finally relax completely. No matter when, no matter how far he had traveled from here, returning to this familiar land always filled his heart with a profound sense of security. With a few swift blinks, Zhang Yi arrived at the shelter. A familiar warmth enveloped his entire body. Zhang Yi released Deng Shintong, Lian Yu, and the others from the shadow space. A rare look of relief spread across everyone's faces. For Deng Shintong, by Li Changqing, Wu Di, and others experiencing a mission of this caliber with Zhang Yi for the first time, their expressions spoke of having narrowly escaped disaster. This trip to Neon had thrown them into too many unforeseen events. They had thought it would be nothing more than tagging along with Zhang Yi, arrogantly crushing a small country. Instead, they'd encountered so many troublesome foes that they'd nearly died in battle. Zhang Yi shed his battle armor, flung off his combat boots, and stood barefoot on the plush carpet. Without a care for his appearance, he slumped against the sofa. I'm absolutely exhausted. He rested his head against the sofa's edge, shouting aloud while taking several deep breaths. This method allowed him to effectively vent the tension building inside. Indeed, during the battle against the divine nest sun god, the surge of adrenaline had left Zhang Yi feeling no fear, only an overwhelming thrill, a burning desire to clash with his foe. But after the battle ended, the moment his body relaxed, the true danger of that fight hit him. After all, this was a powerful being from the mysterious civilization of the underworld. His ability index was a staggering 30,000 points. Furthermore, according to Canelo, Edo wasn't home to just one existence like the divine nest sun god, there were at least two more. Had they intervened then, that would have been the real crisis for Zhang Yi. No sooner had Zhang Yi finished speaking than Yang Xia approached, carrying several cups of coffee with a radiant smile. The moment Zhang Yi returned, she received a notification from the shelter's intelligence system, so she instinctively prepared food to restore his physical and mental energy. Now a qualified nutritionist, the special foods she crafted not only replenished others' supernatural abilities and stamina but also soothed their spirits. Crucially, they tasted absolutely delicious. Have a cup of cappuccino and get some rest. Yang Xia personally handed a cup of coffee to Zhang Yi, then casually passed the remaining coffee to Fatty Su, instructing him to distribute it among the others. She then sat down beside Zhang Yi as if no one else was present, massaging his slightly sore muscles. Zhang Yi's body relaxed completely. He wished he could melt into a puddle and become one with the sofa. Zhang Yi, what should we do now? Deng Shintong approached, wanting to ask if Zhang Yi had any instructions. Zhang Yi desperately wanted to rest his head on Yang Xia's soft, plump thigh, but having just returned from Neon, he couldn't afford to be careless. He addressed Deng Shintong, "Have your people keep a close watch on maritime movements. Pay special attention to the Colombian Navy. I just encountered the piercer, I'm not sure what their stance is on this." "Oh, right." He lifted his head to glance at Deng Shintong, a hint of amusement in his eyes. "This has escalated significantly. The region will find out, and Xinjiang will know about it as well. How do we handle this?" Deng Shintong's brow furrowed slightly. Indeed, the original plan had been to infiltrate quietly and retrieve the item. But now it had blown up. This was tantamount to directly invading a nation's metropolis. Moreover, indirectly, Zhang Yi's actions had caused 500,000 people in Edo City to face death due to the loss of the nomadic insect's parasitism. Internationally, this would likely spark significant public outcry. Nevertheless, Deng Shintong assured Zhang Yi, "Rest assured. We've returned victorious this time. I'll handle this matter properly. Even the higher-ups in Blizzard City and the Xinjiang authorities won't have much to object to." Deng Shintong said this, and Zhang Yi was naturally delighted. After all, the Deng family was handling the matter, so he bore no responsibility. But when it came to the benefits of this affair, he intended to take the lion's share. Zhang Yi didn't bring up the matter of profit distribution. This operation had truly made him rich beyond measure. The Divine Nest Sun God and the Evil Demon's two primordial origins, the original manuscript of Wang Yangming's Heart Sutra, and a mysterious small golden dragon specimen. Oh, and that massive ancient creature skeleton, suspected to be a dragon, held significant research value too. Deng Shintong didn't discuss this either. Instead, he took Bai Li Changqing and Wu Di with him, leaving the shelter to head to the coast for patrol duty. That evening, the skies over Tianhai City remained calm. Zhang Yi took the opportunity to rest properly. However, this trip to Neon had stirred up quite a storm internationally. Regardless of who currently held the reins of power in Neon, it remained Colombia's outpost. Zhang Yi's open assault on Edo, annihilating the royal demon court, was no trivial matter. Soon, high-ranking officials across all major regions of Huashu Kingdom received the news. Colombia also began to stir. The negotiations between the parties were complex and protracted, but those were not Zhang Yi's concerns. The next morning, as he woke to breakfast, Deng Shintong finally broached the subject at the table. Representatives from Colombia and the temporary representatives of Neon have lodged protests. They demand an explanation from us. Last night, Xinjiang launched an urgent inquiry into Blizzard City. The commander summoned my uncle, and the two discussed matters all night long. Zhang Yi stirred his bowl of milk oatmeal and asked indifferently, "Did they come up with anything worthwhile?" Deng Shintong looked at Zhang Yi and smiled faintly. "It's not really a big deal. These are chaotic times, whoever has the biggest fist gets to call the shots. We stated we'd long discovered Neon colluding with underground civilizations to subvert human rule. They're all human traitors. Besides, Canelo and the others witnessed non-human entities appearing in Edo. The evidence is irrefutable. With the Royal Demon Court's personnel all eliminated by us, they have no choice but to accept our version." Zhang Yi replied calmly, "That's good. But based on my understanding of them, this won't be resolved so easily." Deng Shintong shrugged his hands. "You know them best. Foreign powers have their superiors backing them, but if we act in secret, they won't let this go so easily." Zhang Yi continued sipping his porridge, silent, his gaze fixed on Deng Shintong. It was agreed, however the fallout played out, it was the Deng family's problem. Deng Shintong sighed helplessly. "They should get a taste of their own medicine, don't you think?" Zhang Yi dropped his spoon with a clatter. "Is Zhu Jing expecting me to give him an explanation?" His expression held a hint of amusement. Deng Shintong faltered, quickly adding, "Not exactly. But we must share a portion of what we obtain this time with the regional leadership. Moreover, the Xinjiang faction has learned of the ancient creature fossil we retrieved from Mount Fudo. They've expressed significant interest. Zhang Yi said, as agreed, I need time to thoroughly study the original text of the Heart Sutra. Once I've made significant progress, I'll let you see it. However, he rubbed his fingers thoughtfully, studying Deng Shintong with a playful look. We never discussed how to divide the golden dragon specimen and the ancient creature fossil. Aren't they both things I fought to get back? Deng Shintong's face immediately fell. Zhang Yi. You can't do this to me. If that were the case, wouldn't he have ended up with nothing to show for his efforts? Seeing Deng Shintong's aggrieved expression, Zhang Yi burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. Don't take it seriously. In truth, last night he'd immediately had Zhou Keir test the ancient creature's fossil and the golden dragon specimen. But the results were disappointing. According to Zhou Keir, the golden dragon specimen hadn't existed for very long, no more than 1,000 years, so residual biological genes could still be detected. She'd preserved a small slice of this genetic material. As for that ancient creature's fossil, listen, fossil, what an amusing word. It's been turned to stone after so much time. What the hell could you possibly extract from that? According to Zhou Keir, aside from preserving the creature's shape, there was nothing of value left inside. The bone itself was incredibly hard, even surpassing some rare metals. However, its practical utility was extremely low. Its greatest significance might be for future museum exhibitions. Zhang Yi wasn't about to wait around for someone to ask before investigating these items' value. Crossing his arms and propping his elbows on the table, he looked at Deng Shintong and said, I'm a man of my word. What I promise to give you, I will give. I can give you what you want. But you must tell me, what do you intend to do with them? After speaking, Zhang Yi directly retrieved the small golden dragon specimen from his dimensional space and placed it on the table. Deng Shintong's eyes fixed intently on it before he addressed Zhang Yi. It may possess power capable of accelerating biological evolution. I hope to find a breakthrough to surpass Epsilon through it. His expression was grave as he clenched his fists tightly. He knew lying to Zhang Yi would be pointless and only provoke his distrust. Therefore, he had to speak truthfully, hoping to win Zhang Yi over with sincerity. The power to accelerate biological evolution? Zhang Yi frowned as he studied the little golden dragon. He'd researched this creature, why hadn't he sensed it? Could it be that this too depended on the individual? A dragon? Was it truly a dragon? Or merely a mutated lizard? In the field of genetics, the Deng family led the world. Zhang Yi pondered briefly before deciding to hand it over to Deng Shintong, entrusting Deng Technology with its research. All right. Since you put it that way, I'll give it to you. Good luck. But I want a daily report on the research progress. Zhang Yi said to Deng Shintong with a smile. Deng Shintong was overjoyed. Of course. Our Deng family and you will always be friends. Zhang Yi thought to himself, that better be the case. Also, about that ancient creature fossil, you see. Deng Shintong rubbed his hands together, his face full of anticipation. You mean the one Xinjing wants? Zhang Yi asked. Deng Shintong nodded. Currently, Xinjing acts on behalf of Huashu Kingdom. They've also shouldered some international pressure regarding this incident. Strange. What use could they possibly have for a fossil dating back millions of years? Zhang Yi himself held little interest in the fossil, but if Xinjing wanted it, he was happy to oblige. He readily agreed to Deng Shintong's request. Zhang Yi parted with the items with remarkable ease. Certain things, no matter how valuable, held no meaning if they couldn't be put to use in his hands. Better to let professionals handle professional matters, while he reaped the benefits. Besides, as long as the Deng family remained in the Jiangnan region, they dared not defy his will. Even if they made some underhanded moves behind the scenes, the benefits due to Zhang Yi would still be delivered. Soon, Blizzard City dispatched the Yanyan army. They transported the massive ancient creature fossil back via a special train, handing it over to the Xinjing Dragon Guardians who had come to receive it. Zhang Yi didn't interact with them directly. Deng Shintong had his people handle the entire process. For at this moment, Zhang Yi was impatiently occupied with another matter. That matter was studying the newly acquired original manuscript of the Heart Sutra. He sought to uncover the methods by which extraordinary beings enhanced their power. For the further one advanced, the harder it became to obtain the origin of high-level mutants, leaving only the path of seeking within one's own potential. A well-preserved ancient text, he and Yang Xinshin studied it together. Traditional Huashu characters and classical Huashu presented significant challenges for him. Fortunately, the intelligent system assisted with translation, and Yang Xinshin helped interpret the text. For several days, Zhang Yi and Yang Xinshin remained locked in the research lab, not stepping outside once, immersing themselves in studying the book's contents. The information they uncovered left Zhang Yi profoundly shaken. The Heart Sutra represented Wang Yangming's lifelong Heart Sutra and was the definitive work on this school of thought. It existed in two versions, the theoretical teaching edition circulating in the market, and this more comprehensive edition containing guidance on cultivating supernatural abilities. Wang Yangming termed this practice cultivation. In ancient Huashu kingdom, people referred to this pursuit of unity between heaven and humanity, gaining extraordinary abilities and extended longevity, as cultivation. Yet each individual's understanding of the path differed. To Zhang Yi, the so-called cultivation path, Wang Yangming had grasped was essentially a method of inwardly seeking one's true nature, achieving enlightenment in a single moment, and awakening formidable powers. In his writings, Wang Yangming employed the principle of investigating things to attain knowledge to explain his understanding of supernatural abilities. The Great Path is supremely simple, its source lies in preserving the heart. I think, therefore I am. This is because all things in heaven and earth are contained within my heart. With one thought, all things arise, with another, all things vanish. Wherever the heart directs, all things can be controlled. Thus, one follows the heart's desires, achieving carefree freedom. Wang Yangming devoted his entire life to formulating this theoretical framework. He never explicitly described his abilities, attributing them solely to his comprehension of the Tao, the exhaustion of all transformations within heaven and earth, transforming the self into a sovereign. Yet now, in the eyes of Zhang Yi and Yang Xinshin, it was unmistakably clear, this was the awakening of supernatural abilities. 3 days and nights of study left Zhang Yi and Yang Xinshin with a profoundly strange sensation in their minds. They found no manuals or secret techniques. In truth, every mutant's transformation is unique, there can be no standardized method for enhancing supernatural abilities. Yet, what Wang Yangming provided them was the most fundamental theory. It was like building a house, you must lay a solid foundation first. The stronger the foundation, the sturdier the house, and the taller it can be built. The Zhang Yi of the past, or indeed all extraordinary individuals worldwide, had become what they were in a state of vague confusion, stumbling into their abilities and then relying on their own understanding to grope their way toward strength. Now, Zhang Yi at least understood the source of his power. Identifying the problem revealed the path forward. What Master Wang Shoren said is almost identical to what that sage from Nash Kingdom taught. Zhang Yi raised his palm, staring at his dry, powerful hand. His fingers were slender and long, perfect for gripping a delicate dagger and plunging it into an enemy's chest or abdomen. The power of mutants does not come from the outside. It comes from within. The body is a vessel. To grow stronger, one must understand the vessel's shape and function. Some are vases, some are water clocks, some are soup spoons. Only by first understanding oneself can one know the path forward. As Zhang Yi murmured to himself, he closed his eyes, a realization dawning within. The Tao that can be spoken of is not the eternal Tao. These words from Laozi's Tao of Ethics speak to the elusive nature of the Tao, a truth that defies clear, fluent expression through words alone, often requiring personal enlightenment. After studying the Heart Sutra, Zhang Yi experienced a moment of sudden realization within himself. This didn't directly enhance his strength, it was merely a theoretical guide for doors. Yet Zhang Yi understood this was a priceless treasure. The path ahead was now clear to him. In contrast, Yang Xinshin sat silently on the sofa beside him, uttering scarcely a word. Her eyes, like dark, still pools of black gemstone, occasionally flickered with an obscure, elusive light, like a shooting star vanishing abruptly across the night sky. She was far too intelligent. If one truly judged by innate talent, hers might be the highest in the entire shelter, even surpassing Zhang Yi's. Yet she disliked combat, preferring instead to be a strategist orchestrating from the shadows. Still, the lifetime of knowledge from a sage 600 years past drew her in irresistibly. Unlike Zhang Yi, who closed his eyes to comprehend the text, she rose silently and slipped out of the room. Had she not been assisting Zhang Yi with interpretation, she could have finished in half a day at most. After a long while, Zhang Yi slowly opened his eyes, his entire being immersed in an extraordinarily profound state. This reminded him of his second year of middle school, when he was still a rebellious teenager. Suddenly, during a teacher's lecture, he had grasped the true essence of physical hygiene. He felt that the world before his eyes, and his own self, had become clearer. Zhang Yi retrieved the two primordial origins he had obtained from Neon. The primordial origin of the evil demon remained intact, while that of the divine nest sun god had suffered partial depletion due to the lightning strike. He absorbed both primordial origins into his own body. Then, he attempted to fuse these powers. Sure enough, after studying Wang Shoren's insights on cultivating mutant power in the Heart Sutra, he began grasping certain techniques. The fusion process accelerated significantly compared to before. At this rate, absorbing all this origin energy would now take no more than 2 months. It's not just the absorption speed that's increased. As I begin to comprehend my own power, my ability to wield it also expands. I exist, therefore I ponder. I am the sovereign of this world. This world is my own body. Thus, the limits of my power lie in my thoughts. They depend on how vast my heart can become. Within Zhang Yi's eyes, light began to twist and warp in 2 distinct directions. The forces of time and space seemed to be slowly merging. Following the chaos assault on Edo, major global organizations convened an online meeting. Virtual projections of representatives from all parties gathered in a vast conference room to discuss the aftermath. Representing Huashu Kingdom was Lu Chengyuan, the representative from Xinjiang. At 52 years of age, he embodied the peak of a man's composure, experience, and emotional maturity. As the avatars materialized one by one in the virtual space, the stances of the world's most powerful nations and factions converged in this assembly. The old global order had long been shattered, a new equilibrium had already taken shape. The conference hall was arranged in tiers, radiating outward from a central inner circle to form concentric rings. Seated within the innermost circle at the conference center were 10 individuals, representatives of the 10 most powerful forces universally acknowledged in the world today. By the time Lu Chengyuan's image appeared here, all attendees had arrived. Today, the representative of Huashu Kingdom was the central figure in this gathering. After all, they bore primary responsibility for provoking the conflict in this incident. After making his entrance, Lu Chengyuan politely nodded to the others present before taking his seat with deliberate ease. The Neon representative immediately spoke up, demanding answers. Huashu Kingdom sent forces to invade Neon territory, slaughtering countless Neon citizens. This is blatant aggression. Huashu Kingdom must bear full responsibility for this incident. I demand you hand over the mastermind and compensate my country for all losses. Lu Chengyuan heard this and a dismissive smile touched his lips. After the apocalypse, some military forces still existed within Neon. However, after 2 large-scale conflicts, they had been largely destroyed. Particularly the mutant, Zhang Yi had single-handedly exterminated them all. Now, they merely occupied a seat at the conference table, serving as nothing more than Columbia's puppets. Lu Chengyuan stated calmly, "If we're discussing this matter, I must first address your collusion with the underground mysterious civilization. It is common knowledge that the underground mysterious civilization possesses formidable armed forces. Their existence could potentially deal a devastating blow to all of human civilization. Neon has secretly colluded with them and leveraged their power. Is this an attempt to destroy all of humanity?" He threw the accusation directly at them. The Neon representative's expression immediately shifted. The short, balding old man with a gloomy face still tried to justify himself. The underground mysterious civilization is also part of this planet. We are attempting to communicate with them. Facing this global crisis, perhaps their power could help resolve it. Lu Chengyuan sneered coldly, such talk is pure self-deception. An unknown civilization, fundamentally different from our human race, you pin your hopes on them coexisting peacefully with us? Do you seriously believe only your Neon faction has interacted with these subterranean beings? His gaze swept across the assembly hall, deliberately ignoring the representatives from other factions. The only ones needing persuasion were the few individuals at the center of the hall. We've all witnessed the power of the subterranean civilization. They are extremely dangerous. During our nation's interactions with them, we suffered heavy casualties. Regardless of what they are, we must prepare for war with them. When that time comes, it won't be the concern of just one nation or people. It will be a crisis facing all of human civilization. Lu Chengyuan slammed his fist on the table, his gaze turning icy as he fixed it on the Neon representative. Therefore, our Huashu Kingdom sending investigators to probe Neon's contact with the underground civilization is an act of upholding the greater cause of preserving human civilization. Now, I demand the Federation hold Neon accountable. His words rang out with force, making the Neon representative's face grow increasingly grim. Furious, he slammed his fist on the table and stood up. Unfortunately, even standing, he appeared only marginally taller than when seated. Bastard! This is pure slander against the Neon Empire. Before the Neon representative could finish, a middle-aged Caucasian man with neatly parted brown hair glanced at him from across the table. Mr. Tanaka, please be seated. Tanaka's expression stiffened, but he promptly sat back down. Neon had now become a complete puppet of Columbia. Having lost its top-tier mutants and with its military now under Columbia's control, it had no choice but to obey Columbia's orders. The Columbia representative crossed his arms, his gaze fixed on Lu Chengyuan. We have already investigated the Neon incident. The Royal Demon Court organization was the mastermind behind colluding with the underground civilization. They have been eradicated. None of this has any connection to the current leadership of Neon. They are innocent. However, due to the conflict sparked in Edo by your Huashu Kingdom's mutant, Chaos, nearly all of Edo's 500,000 residents perished. Huashu Kingdom must provide an explanation for this. We possess sufficient evidence to suspect your nation harbors genocidal intentions. Lu Chengyuan smiled faintly. Regarding the events in Neon, I trust you've all investigated them thoroughly. The truth lies in your hands, there's no need to pretend ignorance. Those people died because the leader of the Royal Demon Court implanted parasites within them. Our Huashu Kingdom's mutant Chaos has never directly harmed ordinary citizens. The Columbia representative frowned slightly. He was well aware of this matter. After all, it was during that battle that their people had closely monitored the entire affair. But now, with this rare opportunity to force the Huashu Kingdom to concede interests, they naturally wouldn't let it slip. At that moment, the Britannia representative beside him adjusted his glasses and spoke coldly. One day prior to your extraordinary being's operation, abnormal energy fluctuations were detected in the restricted Star Island zone of Huashu Kingdom's southeastern waters. Subsequent satellite analysis confirmed these were the signature reactions of a large-scale, artificially generated weapon. That weapon, he continued, is your Huashu Kingdom's latest development, the Howling C4 class giant torpedo. The moment these words were spoken, every representative's gaze fixed on Lu Chengyuan, each face betraying hostility. You constantly proclaim yourselves defenders of order. Yet when confronted with an unknown subterranean civilization, you proactively launched a massive assault. Do you realize the unimaginable consequences this could trigger? Lu Chengyuan's mind drifted to the classified documents he'd reviewed earlier that day, and he couldn't help but sigh inwardly. The Deng family. They certainly know how to stir up trouble. But that was precisely his purpose. Diplomats existed to engage in verbal duels in such arenas, securing the greatest advantage for their nation and the faction they represented. Lu Chengyuan spoke calmly, the Howling C-4 class giant torpedo is indeed our latest underwater superweapon. But we cannot prove it was launched from our warship. After the apocalypse, human activities in the ocean realm were restricted by deep-sea mutant beasts. This impacted major naval powers, with numerous warships and submarines disappearing. Lu Chengyuan cleared his throat. Therefore, the warship that launched the giant torpedo is the one we lost. The room erupted in murmurs. This explanation seemed far too flimsy, no one believed it. Yet, ironically, this possibility did exist in theory. Lu Chengyuan looked at everyone, carefully explaining the sequence of events. The sequence of events is now clear. After the apocalypse, during the period of turmoil in the maritime domain, someone stole warships from our navy. These vessels were equipped with these devastating giant torpedoes. And just the day before Chaos traveled to Neon to investigate the underground civilization invasion incident, the very individuals who stole the warships launched an attack on Star Island. This led to our Huashu kingdom being mistakenly identified as the mastermind behind everything, bearing an unjustified blame. The boos in the room grew louder. Anyone hearing this would dismiss it as utter nonsense. Yet after finishing his statement, Lu Chengyuan sat back in his chair with unruffled composure, addressing the crowd with sincere expression. Our Huashu kingdom stands ready to fully cooperate with the investigation. We must uncover the true culprit. The Prussia representative spread his hands wide, surveying the room as he murmured, "This is utterly ridiculous. I refuse to believe such claims. How could so many coincidences possibly exist?" Lu Chengyuan pointed at him and declared, Mr. Goebbels, I wholeheartedly agree with your assessment. This is absolutely no coincidence, it's a deliberately orchestrated frame-up. Someone is exploiting these circumstances to smear our Huashu kingdom." The conference hall erupted in commotion, though most present dismissed Lu Chengyuan's claims as false. Representatives seated around the central round table were particularly well aware of the truth. Yet without concrete evidence, the matter was eventually swept under the rug as the meeting progressed. No one cared about Neon's losses. After all, their collusion with the underground civilization was undeniable. But the Columbia representative addressed Lu Chengyuan, "Mr. Lu, we may choose not to pursue this incident. But I hope you understand one thing." He tapped his Parker Gold pen on the table, fixed his gaze on Lu Chengyuan, and spoke with gravity. "That Star Island region is now guarded by my Columbia Navy. Do not treat it as your possession. The areas where those underground civilizations lie hold immense treasures. If you intend to monopolize them, I can assure you, the Columbia Navy will never stand for it. Ultimately, it all boils down to a clash of interests. Columbia's intervention stems solely from perceiving its own interests as threatened." "Treasures, you say?" Indeed they are. But Mr. Clover, remember this. Beyond the treasures lie immense dangers in those uncharted realms. You'd be wise not to underestimate those mysterious, unknown entities." Clover grinned, his expression tinged with disdain. "Thanks for the warning. But that won't scare me. If any crisis is beyond the might of Columbia's strongest forces on this planet, I doubt anyone else could handle it either." Lu Chengyuan smiled faintly. "Mr. Clover, you're just repeating old news. Besides," he shifted his tone, "as things stand now, you have no standing to lecture us from a position of strength." The meeting ended in discord, having dragged on for the entire morning. Most of the time was spent in heated verbal sparring, essentially, a full-blown argument. Yet, like every meeting worldwide, the truly significant matters weren't resolved through discussion. What could be resolved in meetings were all minor issues. Given the existence of the underground civilization, Zhang Yi and his team had acted entirely within their rights and had solid grounds for their actions. Thus, nations like Colombia could only issue hollow threats, all bark and no bite. Lu Chengyuan was well accustomed to such posturing and remained unfazed. After the meeting concluded, he immediately proceeded to the command center to report to Qin Shigong, the supreme commander of the Xinjiang region. After listening, Qin Shigong merely gave a faint nod, offering no further comment. Only after Lu Chengyuan departed did he frown and remark, that wild kid from the Jiangnan region really has the nerve to stir up trouble everywhere. The wild kid he referred to was, of course, Zhang Yi. He was also the only Epsilon-level extraordinary being in the entire Huaxu kingdom not under official control. Since Zhang Yi had grown without relying on any district, the district's influence over him was extremely weak. The Jiangnan region could practically be called Zhang Yi's personal fiefdom. Zhu Jing dared not disobey a single word he uttered. But this situation caused headaches for others. For instance, when Zhang Yi previously led his group of mutants to the southwest region, it fundamentally violated the principle prohibiting interference between districts. Moreover, his recent trip to Neon was undertaken without prior notification to either Blizzard City or Xinjiang. This was no trivial matter. One misstep could escalate into a conflict of level international. Qin Qigong, a career military officer, disliked this kind of uncontrollable power. Currently, Zhang Yi was performing admirably, but there was no guarantee that one day his idiosyncratic methods wouldn't harm the interests of the region, or even the entire Huaxu kingdom. As the supreme commander of Huaxu kingdom's largest region, Qin Qigong was unwilling to accept even the slightest possibility of such an outcome. With this in mind, he grabbed his military overcoat, threw it on, and headed toward the Earth God's temple. Braving the swirling snowstorm and crossing the vast blue brick plaza, Qin Qigong arrived beneath the eaves of the Earth God's temple. He stamped his feet before the door, sending snowflakes from his clothes drifting down to form a small pile on the ground. After the attendance report, he entered the dwelling of Xinjiang's guardian deity, Ho-Tu. Within the room veiled by gauze curtains, Ho-Tu sat among her treasured statues. Clad in black nightgown, her two small feet, as white as jade, peeked out. Her long black hair cascaded like silk, nearly enveloping her entire form. Her dark eyes were fixed intently on a piece of sandalwood in her hands, her right hand carefully carving with a chisel. The wooden figure in her hands was already taking shape. If one looked closely, they would see it bore a striking resemblance to Yang Xinqin. Qin Qigong appeared beyond the gauze curtain. Without lifting her head, Guanlonghua replied indifferently, "What brings the commander here?" Qin Qigong considered his words before addressing her, "Princess Ho-Tu, do you have any means to restrain the chaos in the Jiangnan region?" At the mention of chaos, Guanlonghua paused her engraving knife. "What has he done now?" Her voice was cold and detached. Qin Qigong waved his hand, his voice heavy. "His actions are utterly reckless. Last time, without authorization, he went to the southwest region on his own, causing the entire region to be turned upside down, its structure completely altered. This time, he went to Neon, nearly causing a major international incident. His actions are too uncontrollable, and yet his current power is terrifyingly strong. Within the Huaxu kingdom, the only ones who could potentially restrain him are you and Xidagarba King. But Xidagarba King cannot leave your side, and Chaos's abilities are too bizarre, even those with a higher ability index might not be able to control him. Therefore, I hope you can help me devise a solution. At the very least, we must teach him a lesson so he dares not act so recklessly again." Qin Qigong's intentions were entirely reasonable. From his perspective, he desired no destabilizing factors. Perhaps age brought this tendency, to fret over this, fear that. Currently, he was Huaxu Kingdom's most powerful figure. Should Huaxu Kingdom be rebuilt, he stood the best chance of becoming the supreme commander of the 6 districts. Provided everything proceeded according to plan, without any unforeseen complications. Guanlonghua heard this and said little, only asking, "Then can you obtain a biological sample from him?" Qin Qigong's tone faltered. Obtain a biological sample from Zhang Yi? Such a thing might have been possible in the past, but now, which top-tier mutant wasn't constantly guarding against others? Supernatural abilities varied wildly, yet their activation conditions generally fell into a few fixed patterns. Using the target's bodily tissue or personal belongings as a medium. Release department abilities, like Yang Xinqin's Angel of Desire's arrow, could directly deploy the power onto the target. Or pre-deploying abilities at fixed locations, like traps waiting for the opponent to take the bait. Forget Zhang Yi. Even other top-tier mutants, just getting a single drop of their blood is nearly impossible. Qin Qigong stroked his chin and inquired, with your strength, couldn't you activate your ability without these aids? Guanlonghua replied calmly, without the crucial missing piece, my ability would be severely weakened. And what I need is the most vital piece of the puzzle. Of course, she added, even now, from thousands of miles away, I could activate my ability against and inflict damage upon him. But it would be far from fatal. Instead, it would turn him completely against you. Are you truly willing for me to do that? Guanlonghua's dark eyes pierced through the gauze curtain, fixing on Qin Qigong. Qin Qigong remained silent for a long moment, his heart filled with hesitation. He paced back and forth in the grand hall, his hands clasped behind his back. After a long while, he suddenly frowned, speaking with a touch of irritation, issuing him a warning is absolutely necessary. Don't inflict too much damage, but at least make him understand. In this world, he is not beyond any constraints. Guanlonghua tilted her head, her silky black hair cascading down like a waterfall. You're the one who said it. A mischievous glint flashed in her eyes, mingled with an indescribable thrill. Then, let's give it a little try. With that, she reached out without hesitation, plucking Zhang Yi's wooden puppet from the front row of the wooden rack. Clutching it in her palm, an intensely dark light flowed from her eyes like thick, viscous ink. 2 straight black lines streamed down from her eyes. The pitch-black power of curses instantly saturated the entire floor, plunging the surrounding space into utter darkness. Only she remained. Clutching the puppet tightly, she murmured a low incantation. A little puppet, so stubborn and unruly. Sitting at home, yet your head will roll. Clank, clank, the clanking of chains echoed through the darkness. The massive black and white impermanence emerged from the shadows, soul-binding chains in hand. The puppet suddenly dissolved into a wisp of blue smoke, flowing past Guanlonghua's fingertips and vanishing into the chains of the black and white impermanence. Clank, clank, clank. Chains clanking in unison, they turned their gaze toward the distant southeast. The 2 ghost gods exchanged a glance, their expressions neither quite tears nor quite laughter, before fading back into the darkness. It was now the dead of night. For several days, Zhang Yi had been immersed in studying the Heart Sutra, finding the text utterly brilliant. Though he couldn't directly glean methods to enhance his supernatural abilities from it, his path forward became clearer. Wang Yangming was a sage. With few precedents to draw upon, he achieved monumental breakthroughs in the realm of supernatural powers through his method of investigating things to attain knowledge. But Zhang Yi was not. He had always considered himself merely an ordinary person, slightly clever and overly cautious. Wang Yangming seemed to have anticipated this. Thus, within the chapters of the Heart Sutra, there is also a recorded meditation practice called the Ziwu Purification Exercise. This practice originated from Taoist internal alchemy cultivation methods. Later, after being adapted by Wang Yangming, it became a specialized technique for calming the mind through meditation and gaining self-awareness. It wasn't some secret manual from immortal novels that promised ascension to godhood after cultivation. Simply put, it was just a method for teaching people how to meditate and sit in contemplation. Zhang Yi began practicing this method, striving to quiet his mind, connect with his inner world, and unlock greater potential. The cultivation of Taoist practices is invariably tedious at the outset. For the very concept of quieting the mind is the most challenging, distractions are ever present. Fortunately, when it came to meditation itself, Liang Yu could offer him relevant guidance. After all, in martial arts, meditation is also a way to cultivate Qigong abilities. Zhang Yi expended considerable effort to try and enter the state of meditation. He lost track of time, nearly drifting off to sleep while meditating with his eyes closed. Perhaps he truly had fallen asleep. But when he opened his eyes again, what met his gaze was a vast, utterly baffling world, pure white. In the boundless space, he saw countless points of light suspended mid-air, densely packed like stars in the night sky, each emitting a soft, white glow. Zhang Yi appeared within this ocean of white light rain, his own form no longer human, transformed into one among countless points of light. As if drifting within his mother's womb, this place filled his soul with profound warmth. Just as Zhang Yi was immersed in this unique sensation, the danger-sensing ability of everything follows the trail jolted him awake from his meditation. Silence reigned in the room, still as the night itself. Yet in the corner, two colossal figures loomed over him, their gaze fixed and unyielding. One black, one white, they wielded soul-binding chains, their expressions neither quite tears nor quite laughter. Zhang Yi's pupils contracted sharply. He had seen this power before. It belonged to the most enigmatic, and by many accounts the most powerful, supernatural being in present-day Huashu Kingdom, Ho-Tu, Guanlongyue. Zhang Yi hadn't expected Guanlongyue to attack him. A flurry of thoughts raced through his mind in an instant. But now, there was no time left for deliberation. For the chains held by the black and white impermanence were transforming from ethereal to solid. And upon his own body, ring after ring of solidified chains began to slowly materialize. The fear of death instantly engulfed Zhang Yi's heart. Ho-Tu's ability was famed as unavoidable death. Any target she locked onto, no matter where they fled, could ultimately not escape the fate of death. Yet, a peculiar sensation suddenly surfaced in Zhang Yi's mind. An inescapable death? But why did the danger warning from everything follows the trail feel so faint? As if he could snap these chains with a single flick of his wrist? The instant this thought crossed his mind, Zhang Yi activated his dimensional gate. Everything under heaven, countless dimensional gates coalesced around his body, layering into dozens of impenetrable defenses. Yet astonishingly, the dimensional gates proved utterly ineffective against the soul-binding chain. They passed right through, as if the dimensional gates didn't exist. The chains tightened around him. The black and white impermanence drifted toward Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi's body vanished from his original spot, instantly entering another dimension. Having lost its target, the white impermanence was momentarily stunned, looking around in bewilderment. The black and white impermanences began circling around the spot in the room where Zhang Yi had vanished. For according to their senses, Zhang Yi truly existed within that spatial node. After entering the alternate dimension, Zhang Yi, already familiar with this environment, actually calmed down. The abnormal flow of time here caused a complete disconnection between one's physical body and mind. Thus, while the mind perceived the passage of years, the body experienced only a brief span of time. Though this inflicted mental torment, once accustomed to it, one could exploit the temporal disparity between inner and outer worlds for deep contemplation. Ho-Tu attacked me. She actually dared to attack me. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Zhang Yi cursed 1,000 curses in his mind. He had no deep-seated grudges against either the Xinjiang region or Guanlongyue. Why would they target him? Yet compared to his first encounter with the Hell's Guillotine, the intimidation factor of these black and white impermanence was significantly weaker this time. Most crucially, his infallible premonition of impending death had failed to activate. They haven't gathered all the pieces of my information puzzle, so they can't kill me. Then what's the point of attacking me? To wound me? What purpose does that serve? Zhang Yi stared down at the chains binding his body. Even after fleeing to this alternate dimension, they extended through the spatial nodes. The power of the rules could transcend time and space, much like the theory of quantum entanglement. Zhang Yi pondered for a long time. He had to figure out what exactly was happening in this situation. After prolonged contemplation, he finally grasped one crucial point. He had made things far too big this time. So big that Xinjiang had begun to harbor dissatisfaction toward him. No, perhaps it's not just Xinjiang. Those in high positions, entrenched in their privileges, always fear the emergence of new disruptors who might threaten their standing. My appearance has caused the 4 great Tusi families of the southwest region to lose their status. The higher-ups in other regions might have their own thoughts on this. Especially Zhu Zheng. Could it be that bastard wants me dead? The thought sent a surge of murderous intent boiling through Zhang Yi's veins. As long as I remain in the Jiangnan region, Zhu Zheng's power remains unstable. He doesn't want someone like me here. My strength has long surpassed his control. Zhang Yi considered countless possibilities, but all remained mere conjecture. He possessed no concrete evidence. Yet the soul-binding chain tightly encircling his body was undeniably real. What the hell am I supposed to do about this thing? Zhang Yi frowned, a wave of irritation washing over him. He couldn't hide in this alternate space forever. Sooner or later, he'd have to leave. But what kind of situation would await him outside? His mind raced. In that instant, a memory surfaced. Back in the Qinling Mountains underground, he had once used Guanlongyua's cursed doll against the White Dragon child. The chains had bound White Dragon, only for him to snap them free in an instant. Guanlongyua couldn't possibly have gathered all of White Dragon's information fragments. That's why the ability activated incompletely, just like when she used it on me this time. But this also proves the Hell's Guillotine isn't unbreakable. As long as my power grows strong enough. As this thought crossed Zhang Yi's mind, a surge of immense courage welled up within him. He drew a deep breath, his gaze fixed on the soul-binding chain encircling his body. For days of studying and interpreting the Heart Sutra had begun to awaken his self-understanding. His supernatural abilities hadn't grown stronger, but his comprehension of his own power had deepened immensely. There was no need to blindly chase external power. Every mutant was a vast treasure trove within themselves. The very fusion of time and space was a magnificent miracle born into this world. Yin and yang swirled within his eyes. The power of time in his left eye formed a clockwise vortex, while the power of space in his right eye spun counterclockwise. Time. Space. The power of time-space reversal. Space-time, reverse flow. An intangible force poured directly into the soul-binding chain. The black chains that had held Zhang Yi tightly bound suddenly began to dissipate like dust in an instant.